Welcome back to Babbling Brook Homestead. So we have my onions are doing really good. I will say I'm getting ready to weed this hot mess of a garden out. But so my onions are doing really good. As you can see here, you can actually see the bulbs coming up in a lot of them. So I have 3 different kinds of onions. I have red, white, and yellow. Let me come over here on this side. You can see a little bit better. Plus, my volunteer watermelon plant is actually doing really good. And this fly is in my face. So here you can see the bulbs a lot better. Over here, that thing over there is my volunteer watermelon plant from that sprouted from seeds from last year. So I'm just letting it go and see how it goes. So my next 2 beds here are my potato beds. They're kind of starting to die off. Now the potatoes will be great, hopefully. As anybody knows, root crops are always a gamble, because you can't see them as they're growing. They grow underground, and then when you pull them up, it's like Christmas morning, which is always fun, except for if you don't get what you were hoping for. It's kind of depressing, but the plants are starting to die off. However, I'll leave them in the ground for a while. Partially dying off from the heat, I think, quicker than they normally would. But I planted them pretty early. Like, I planted the other bed first, and this bed was second. So like those ones are dying off already, and these ones are kind of just starting to change color a little bit. So I'm hoping that everything's going at the normal rate. As you can see, I'll show you here, the dying off of the plants is really starting to happen. The pain is real. It is a sad day. But I mean, it's normal. The plants will die off, and that's when you harvest your potatoes. But I'm going to let them sit in the ground for a while longer, because they harden up. They get their outer thicker layer of skin that keeps them good longer to store longer. And here's a fun fact. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I found it pretty interesting. You can actually leave your potatoes and carrots and stuff in the ground if you want to, and then come out in the winter. Like, I would cover it with like a tarp or something. But then in the winter, it's like its own self-storage. You just dig in there and pull some out. I don't do that because I use the garden space for more plants in the fall, or a second crop of potatoes if to go that far. But it's interesting that you could do that. You know, you don't have to like pick it and preserve it in a certain way. So my strawberries were doing amazing. I got a great first round of them, and then all of a sudden, and they were doing good for a while. I had gotten some more. Like, my strawberries are ever-bearing, so they fruit all year. However, not all year, all season. However, it was hot for a few days. They were kind of just real short. Like, they were good, but they were just real short because of how hot it's been. And then we got Japanese beetles, and I am going to tonight actually spray them, because it's only been about a week or so that we've even had Japanese beetles, but they have decimated my strawberry plants. It is very discouraging. However, and I try to stay organic, so I'm going to use some neem oil spray this evening. You can't spray it in the heat of the day, but because it'll just burn your plants. But I'm going to, this evening, go ahead and spray down the strawberry plants. I will show you exactly how sad it is. They're, let me get real closer for you, even though they're gross. So they're eating away at my plants and destroying what's left of them. But I will spray them. Oh my goodness, they're just everywhere. I'll spray them and get that. I was really excited because it started out to be a stellar strawberry year. Like, we had so many right off the bat, and but then these beetles came out because it was really hot for a while, so I'd come out and water and everything. And then it rained for a couple days, so I was like, well, I don't really need to go out because I had already picked all the strawberries off. And I hadn't been out here in a couple days because it rained for pretty much 2 days straight, and things were going good. And then I come out to water and see these bugs just appeared, and real strong they appeared. There were just a whole bunch of them. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're everywhere. So anyways, here is these tall things here. These are my asparagus plants that I couldn't harvest. Ooh, sorry. I couldn't harvest because they were too skinny. And so I let them go to seed. So what you see here, the little balls on there, those are asparagus seeds. So, ooh, I awoken them. Ooh, I moved that, and now there's like Japanese beetles flying everywhere. It's just kind of mid-season for. It's gotten to the point my cool weather crops were actually hanging on way longer than I expected them to, and I partially contribute that to the fact that they were planted high intensity, so it kind of kept the coolness around. But it's been a solid week and a half of in the 90s and everything, so they're just kind of at the end of their life cycle anyways, just because they don't do good in the heat. The peas, I'll pull this. Luckily, all this stuff can be pulled and fed to the pigs. Circle of life. But yeah, so we had already harvested. This patch here was like radishes and beets. We harvested that already. Now this parsley here, oh my goodness, I'm trying to get this right. This parsley, now I can still harvest that, and I'll dehydrate it and use it for seasoning or use it fresh in soups. But the peas will definitely have to be pulled and fed to the pigs. So these were 2 different kinds of parsley here. So my kale was doing so great until the Japanese beetles, and now it's all getting pretty eaten up. Some of it isn't really touched much, and I think what I'll do with those is pull them and maybe dehydrate them for kale chips and see how that, how we like that, because I've never really done that, but I hear they're really good. And my kohlrabi, though, I'm still so excited. I'm a nerd. My kohlrabi is still doing pretty good. I mean, they're eating the leaves a little bit, but not too bad. But they're actually getting the ball on it for the kohlrabi. So I'm pretty excited about that. Like, at least something's going right. I didn't get out and water early enough this morning. We're probably due today, so I'll go ahead and water this evening. So some of the things look a little extra wilted. It got hotter today, quicker than I anticipated, because yesterday was actually pretty cool. So I just didn't rush out here super early. But my Swiss chard here, it's doing great. Bugs aren't eating it too much, so they must not like that very much, which I can appreciate that. I like when they don't like some of my things. And those are just more peas that need taken out and fed to the pigs. Okay, now this is the interesting part. So I let, towards the end of the season here, my greens go to seed. And I'm gonna go ahead and get seeds off of these. So I let them go for a while. We just didn't go through as much. I usually pull out a lot more, or I give a lot more away, and I just haven't really done that this year too much. But I wanted to let them go to seed so I can harvest some seeds, because I've learned about it a little bit. I've never actually harvested seed, especially not from lettuce. So I am going to see these little, I don't know how well you can see it, seed pods here. I'm going to go ahead and collect seeds from these different lettuces and everything, all these salad greens. So that's what they do. When they go to seed, they get real tall, and it does. And this is what happens with the heat. Like, it gets too hot, they immediately go to bolt, and which is going to seed. And that's what these have done. That's why they're so tall and ridiculous looking. Like, they weren't that tall very long at all. They go pretty fast. When they go to seed, they just grow up real fast and put their seed pods out. So that's what is going on here. My carrot bed, I never finished it. I'm going to go ahead and try to plant some more carrots in it either within the next few days. I just wasn't sure how these were doing because of those moles. We had some moles in here, and they seem to be growing, but like the moles don't seem to be there. A couple of them I pulled and didn't really see too much going on, and some of them looked real good. So it might have also just been how they were planted or something, that some of them didn't do well, but some of them are growing really well. So I'm going to go ahead and plant out the rest of this bed in carrots in the next few days. The trellises, ouch, look how pretty they look. Unfortunately, I need to do some weeding. It just kind of got away from me. There are, I don't know if I can show you this far enough away. So along all these are pole beans. This spot here is not growing very well, but this one has some. I see a couple weeds have gotten through there. They're starting to entwine and go up the trellis pretty good. Let's change the color here. There we go. See how good these are doing? Coming up the trellis here. Beautiful flowers. Those are my pole bean flowers. So they'll be growing pole beans. Now, in the rest of this bed back here, on the other side of the trellis, is bush beans. Now, I have to weed that bed really badly. So that's on my agenda. I'll let you in on a tiny little secret that pretty much everybody who knows me knows. I am terrified of daddy long legs. Don't ask. It's weird. It's stupid. I know. Can't help what I'm afraid of. But once the weeds get to a certain point, there's daddy long legs all infested in there. Like, they're everywhere, and it completely freaks me out. So I need somebody with me here so I don't completely have a panic attack when I'm weeding. So in the next few days, I'll be getting to that whenever I have somebody here to help, so I don't have a heart attack and die right here, because I just might. But these are doing great. This is kind of the point. The vines will grow up. I am hoping to get these beds filled in the next couple weeks, next week or two, and then I'll be able to plant some more stuff that still has plenty of time to grow in them. And then, so this is also the same bed. Ooh, I see a bee. Let me see if I can spin you around and show you this. Do you see? Do you see that green bean right there? That's one of my, oh, it's like a dragon something. I can't think of what it's actually called. So I need to get in there. And then maybe this evening, when my husband gets home, he can help me weed that out. And this bed, it's these two beds that are in dire need of being weeded. They're pretty bad, but it's just, it's the shady side where all the daddy long legs like tend to hang out. So that's why I've kind of put it off to the side. But in this bed is also, there's green beans along this trellis. But this part, if you remember, has sweet potatoes. There is some celery back there, and then in the back part there's nothing planted. So it looks really good, but it's a lot of weeds. There's some stuff in there. The sweet potatoes just don't seem to be doing as good as they did last year anyways. I don't know. This is only my second time ever growing sweet potatoes, and they vined so quick. And now these might be a different kind of sweet potato. I got them from a different place, so that also might be part of it. I don't know, but and then the only tomato plants I have are these 4 that I had bought. They are producing. You see the tomatoes on them. They're doing good. I'm just waiting for them. I didn't single stem them or anything like that this year. They were kind of already pretty decently sized when I got them and planted them. I kind of just wanted to see, and I didn't know what variety they were either. It came with a tag with the variety, but some of them I just didn't know. I've never had before, so I wasn't sure how well, like if they were cherries or like slicers. Like it had a name, but I didn't really look too much into it. I was just excited to have 4 plants because all 72 of mine died in the house for whatever reason. Because this year is just not my year. That's why. And then this part here, let me see it. Like I have weeded this bed with the tomatoes in it. I'm not a complete slacker. However, back here, I planted peanuts. I do not know what peanut plants look like, and I've looked at a few different pictures, and they've looked like a few different things for the different varieties. And the seed pack I got only says peanuts. It doesn't have a specific variety. So I was hoping if I let it grow, I can kind of see them and figure it out. I've not gotten that far yet. So we'll see how it goes. See if we find them, and if not, at the end of the year, I'll just till it up with my garden fork and see if there's any peanuts in there, because they do grow underground. The one really good thing I will say that I was really excited about, my pepper plants, I had planted 72 along with my tomato plants, and they also, well, I picked out some that had survived, and I planted them out in the garden, and then they all died. They didn't look very good. So I kind of let that bed just go and get weedy so the soil would stay nice and everything. Then I noticed as I walked past one day that I see a pepper plant in there. So I'm like, maybe I should weed that and see how many we got. There is, I believe, 16, let me do it this way, 16 pepper plants in there that I found as I was weeding. They were pretty much dead. I mean, they were like wilted to the ground, barely hanging on. And they came back. So I was really happy about that. They're a little bit stunted, but they're actually not doing bad at all. So we'll see what that produces. I'll be happy with anything at this point. It's a really sad year for this, but I've got a lot of other things going on, so I kind of have to weigh my happiness in other things as well. And then these are also volunteer potatoes that must have still been hiding in there from last year. So that's the garden update. Nothing too exciting, but you know, there's some stuff growing. You gotta take it as it is. I haven't put forth a ton of effort with everything going on, excuse me. And we got things crawling on me. We've built an addition to our barn. The dogs are gonna come up. He's sticking too close. So we've built an addition to our barn. That has taken up some time. We planned out building an arena, an outdoor riding arena. So we got that area ready and was finally able to mow it. We had a lot of time mowing and weed eating, but because we only had a push mower, we got a 0 turn, and it's really helped on time, so that's kind of helped a big chunk. It has helped. So that's kind of just been some of the little things that are kind of slowly take up a lot of time, but you know, it takes time to push mow a bunch of yard. So bugs, man, see that one? Ooh, it's on me. So we've been working on that. So here is, got kind of too close. Here's the addition we're building. This is the goat barn part. How they've been in the main part of the horse barn is I have them separated into 3 stalls. So my buck is in one. All the adult girls, so there's 4 adult girls that are in another stall. And then the babies and the new sheep we got is in another stall. It's kind of a pain when you have to really do anything, or I had to medicate one of them, one of the baby sheep, or one of the baby goats, and it was hard to kind of take one out without everybody trying to get out. I don't prefer it that way. So we decided to go ahead and add an addition to the barn, and we're going to do individual goat stalls. So I'll kind of show you this real quick. It's going to be really dark in there because like the electric's not in there yet. But once we switch it in here. So it's not done yet. We got the roof, the frame, and then we started on the wall. So we have like the little bit of wall left there in that wall. That's going to be a solid wall, and this here is going to be like the doorway. So I'm getting tripped out by a cat. So the stalls are going to be on this side, and then this is going to be the aisleway. But then my darling husband is building me at the end there, where the ground dips down low, instead of filling it completely. Like he's going to put me a solid floor in, and he's going to make that into a room. Excuse me. And it'll be my milking room, and I can keep my feet in there and everything. But it'll just be a better situation. I can put my fridge in there to keep my milk cold quicker, as soon as I milk, because next year I'll have 4. I have a cat bothering me right now. I'll have 4 goats in milk next spring, and then the following year I'll have 7. So right now it's just 1, and it's not really a big deal to run in the house. But like while I'm milking one, I milk one, I can put like the milk on ice. The other one, add it to it. Like it'll just be a better situation, and it'll be just a little bit cleaner. I mean, it's not a bad situation I have going on now, but the more I have in milk, the better it'll be to have that extra room. So it's another thing we've been working on. It's taking time. So I didn't want to leave you guys hanging too long. Join me again. I will be making more videos a lot sooner than I made this one. Alright, see you later, guys.